For Pacifica Radio, I'm Scott Baba. The Colorado Republican Party is appealing that state Supreme Court's ruling banning former President Donald Trump from its primary ballot. Jay Sekulow, a lawyer for the party, announced the appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court on his website. Trump himself will also appeal the decision in the coming days. The Colorado Supreme Court stayed its historic ruling until January 4th, or when an appeal is resolved with the nation's highest court. The U.S. Supreme Court has never ruled on Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, which the Colorado court found made Trump ineligible for the presidency because he violated the provision's ban on those who, quote, engaged in insurrection from holding office. The U.S. yesterday announced what officials say could be the final package of military aid to Ukraine unless Congress approves supplemental funding legislation that is stalled on Capitol Hill. The weapons, worth up to $250 million, include an array of air munitions and other missiles, artillery, anti-armor systems, ammunition, demolition, and medical equipment and parts. The aid, provided through the Presidential Drawdown Authority, will be pulled from Pentagon stockpiles. The Associated Press has concluded that at least hundreds of people died in floods after a Ukraine dam collapsed in June, far more than Russia had said. Karen Chamis reports.
It has been over 6 months since the catastrophic explosion that destroyed the Kakhovka Dam in the southern Kherson region. An AP investigation has found that Russian authorities vastly and deliberately undercounted the dead after the incident. Russian authorities took control of the issuance of death certificates, immediately removing bodies not claimed by family. Russia, which didn't respond to questions for the report, has said 59 people drowned in the territory it controls, but the AP estimates the number is more likely in the hundreds. I'm Karen Chamas.
Meanwhile, a civilian cargo ship picking up Ukrainian grain struck a Russian mine in the Black Sea near Ukraine's Danube ports today, injuring 2 sailors. The Panama-flagged vessel struck the floating mine during stormy weather, according to Ukraine's Southern Defense Forces, who said that churning seas often increase the risk for mines. After Russia pulled out of a UN-brokered export agreement last summer, Ukraine launched a new Black Sea shipping corridor to get grain, metals, and other cargo to world markets. That has given a boost to Ukraine's agricultural-dependent economy. The mine incident occurred about 80 miles southwest of Chornomorsk on Ukraine's southern coast near Odessa. The ship with 18 crew was on its way to Izmail, another port in the area. Israeli forces have bombarded cities, towns, and refugee camps across Gaza overnight, killing dozens of people. The air and ground offensive against Hamas has widened to most of the territory and forced thousands more to flee from homes and shelters in recent days. The war has already killed over 20,000 Palestinians and driven about 85% of the population of 2.3 million from their homes. Much of northern Gaza has been leveled, largely depopulated and isolated for weeks. Many fear a similar fate awaits the south. Israel has vowed to dismantle Hamas and bring back more than 100 hostages still held by the militants after their October 7th attack into southern Israel. Some 1,200 people were killed in that assault. Romania and Bulgaria will become partial members of the European Schengen area, which allows travelers to move between countries without border checks. The Eastern European countries struck a deal with Austria, which had opposed their accession over concerns about immigration. Pablo Gutierrez reports.
The agreement extends the Schengen zone to include Romania and Bulgaria's air and sea borders from March, with discussions about land borders deferred until next year. Austria, which previously vetoed their entry, proposed the so-called Air Schengen Plan earlier this month, offering relaxed entry by plane if the EU enhanced external border security. Romania and Bulgaria have been EU members since 2007 and have such Schengen inclusion since 2011. Last year, Austria and the Netherlands vetoed their applications due to immigration and border security concerns. Romania's prime minister has welcomed the move, with the country expected to see a boost to its economy.
And that's Pablo Gutierrez. Mexican immigration officials are clearing out a migrant camp on the banks of the Rio Grande as U.S. pressure mounts to limit a surge of people from reaching the border. The operation, using bulldozers and workers with machetes across from Brownsville, Texas, continued this week as U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken met with Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador in Mexico City. Mexico's president said the meeting focused on reopening border crossings temporarily closed by the U.S., which wants Mexico to do more to stop migrants hopping freight cars, buses, and trucks to the border. I'm Scott Baba for Pacifica Radio.